Ah, there it is. Yes. I have a feeling we're going to talk a little bit about that this morning. Let me get into this. Let's get things started. It's this button right over here, isn't it? I think that's the one. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it might be in your part of the world.
Greetings, my excellent friend.
It is so good to see you. My name is Jeff Fritz, and today is April 3rd, 2025, and we're going to write a little bit of code today. We've got a bunch to discuss, and Billy Cool is touching on it right there off the top. I don't want to get too far into it here at the beginning because I know there's going to be folks coming along later, so I want to make sure that we balance how far we get into some of these. But let me head over and we can take a look at chat. We're broadcasting live on Twitch and YouTube. I do have Charlie running today to help with some of the question management, and we'll dive in and talk about that. We're going to work on SharpSite. We've got some great stuff to talk about today. C Sharp Titan.
Sharp Titan just resubscribed for 8 months.
8
Another
months.
month.
Thank
Very
you.
happy to support you, Jeff, and the work that you do.
Thank you.
C Sharp Heart, C Sharp Party, C Sharp Wave.
Thank you so much, C Sharp Titan. Yes, using that Prime subscription, you're already paying for Amazon Prime, so you can get free shipping and free video and music. You get one free channel subscription you can use anywhere you'd like on Twitch. Thank you so much for using yours here and supporting my channel. Thank you so much. Let me say hello to everybody who's here. And yes, it reset the category again. Of course it did. There we go. Software and game development. All right. Weird Beard Dev, hello. Happy Thursday to you. Harish, hello there. Mythin, hello, hello. Smirking Squiggly, good morning to you. Commander No Pilios, hello. Good afternoon to you in the Black Forest in Germany. Wasn't there a club song, Dark Black Forest or Deep Black Forest from like 2000, like 1999, 2000? Like, it was on Dance Dance Revolution, right? Yeah, that was a thing. So, hope you're doing well, C Sharp Titan, out there in Melbourne, Australia. Have a very good evening. Mythin with a question about Aspirify and using .NET Aspire with custom domains. I'll show you that in a minute. Let me finish going through greeting some folks, and we can start a little bit of the conversation that we want to have today. Billy Cool is here talking about, yes, commercializing open source projects. That's becoming a thing, isn't it? Ernesto, how you doing over there on YouTube? Good morning to you. Birmingham, yes, Charlie is running today. Right, we can run the Charlie command and you'll see. There we go. How you doing there, Codebase Alpha? Digital Dummy, did we ever find out who raided me? No, and it wasn't a raid. I am just about positive that was some sort of either embedding or viewbot attack. So something happened and we went up to like 1,500 concurrent viewers. I don't know if it was somebody else watching us, somebody embedding us on a website. Don't know. It's not that concurrent viewer count showed up in my statistics, but it didn't count towards my total number of viewers on the stream. So that's a thing. That's fine. Let me get some music playing and we'll start talking about the hot topic that everybody's talking about in the .NET community. I'm going to start with the Stream Beats Synthwave playlist, and let's go somewhere down here. Let's start here. This is called Into the Night. This is music that's DMCA free. It's royalty free. Listen to it wherever you'd like. Check it out at streambeats.com. Big thanks to Harris Heller and his team of creators for this music that we're listening to today. No, it wasn't a memory leak. So, the big news that's going on. How's it going there? Did I mention Aris? I saw Frozen Fusion. Yeah. The big news that's going on, and I do have your question pinned here, Mythin. So, and I do have a couple of those locations popping up there for Frozen Fusion. And why did it put you in Arizona? Oh yeah, because you said good morning from Arizona and Codebase Alpha. Yep. So I have the question queue up and running. And we'll go through a bit of that. Let me, you know what? I'll start with this question from Cygam, and then we'll get into a little bit of the .NET discussions that are going on. So Cygama has this question to get us started: which is more of a better skill to have, creating and building models, or using tools like RAG and so on to call models to create agents and so on? I don't know yet. This is something that I'm exploring myself, because I want to put an agent into the Charlie chatbot. I want to put an agent in there with a RAG'd model that will discover, learn, and then turn around and respond based on the things that we've taught it. So my belief is that creating and building models is going to be much more expensive, both in time and processing power. Being able to use RAG to augment and configure and load up, which then I believe you can persist at that point. I think RAG is going to be the easier thing for enterprises, governments, and non-data scientists to do. But I think we're going to see folks draw a line at some point and say, well, I need to go and build a model, right? My understanding is that the model is the more sophisticated, long-term way to do things, and also a little bit more generic, versus using RAG to load up an agent, get it ready to go. I think is going to be the easier, quicker way for us who are building applications to work with these. So, how you doing there? Jordan's here on YouTube. Hello, and Robson Previato. I'm going to hold off on. That's more of a demo that you're asking me for, Mythin. And even if I don't get to it here in a little bit, remind me over in Discord chat, and I'll get you some screenshots of how you go through that. There are techniques to do it inside of AppHost. I hard-coded the SSL configuration inside of my bicep files. So there's a certificate ID that's in there that you pass around.
Checkmatey just resubscribed.
Oh my gosh, Checkmatey! Hello! Good to see you. Thank you so much for the resub. Bringing that Prime 1 year with us. Hello, hello. So the other news that everybody's talking about, and some folks are quite upset about, to be frank, and we need to talk about this, is the announced commercialization of 3 significant open source projects in the .NET community. Automapper, Mediator, and Mass Transit all yesterday announced, and they specifically in their announcement said, we waited till April 2nd to announce this so that you didn't think it was an April Fool's joke. They all announced that they're going to go with a commercial license in their next versions at some point going forward. It's coming this year in subsequent versions. And there are a lot of folks that got upset about this. These are all projects that have been around for more than 10 years in the .NET community. Some of them have gotten financial support. Some of them have been supported by the lead maintainers, employers, consulting firms. And you know what? Things change. Folks change employers. Folks go out on their own to be consultants, supporting and promoting and using their libraries. And at some point, like, the dream is to get paid for the software that you wrote, right? If they had started those projects as closed source, you'd think nothing of supporting them in paid services because they have really, really good features. But that's the dream. Hey, I wrote a piece of software. A lot of people like it. I wouldn't mind getting paid for it. Like, that's okay. So, I don't see a problem with this. We see a similar effect that is happening with folks who are YouTube streamers. They generate and put a lot of free videos out there teaching tutorials on various topics. And then they pull back on those tutorials and even take down their older videos and turn it into a paid service. And people get upset about that too. The irony is there are some of those YouTubers, influencers out there that are the ones that are poking fun and are upset about the commercialization of these products. There is nothing wrong with an open source project saying, hey, I want to make a couple bucks here to support this long term. How do I do that? And like it or not, all software developers at some point need to be paid, either by a large company or by folks that support them and the projects they're working on. And they're doing it through either advertising or training or support. But licenses are a valid way to do business also. And you're welcome to not like paying for licenses. You are certainly welcome to not like that. That is your business decision. But it's also their business decision as well. The old versions, they have, Mass Transit has said that they will continue to make, and Chris Patterson, Jimmy Bogart, I consider them both friends. Fantastic guys. Happy to have had dinner with both of them at various times, and I have much respect for what they've accomplished in their projects, and it is their business decision to decide to take things and make them a paid license. So, same thing can be said about free software. At some point, you need to start paying for features. Totally. Codebase Alpha says the problem with training your own AI models is that you're not guaranteed to get a good result. Yes, you're right. You're right. And that's where RAG can help a little bit. Jordan asking, how can you use Metal or DirectX in .NET MAUI? I don't know. I'm not familiar with using .NET MAUI. There are ways to call into native libraries. I haven't done it myself, so I'm not up to speed on that. If you use a bunch of packages and all of them require a license, the costs will stack up quickly, says Digital Dummy. Very good point. Very good point. And that's okay. Like, you're not entitled to get everything for free. This is the privilege of open source. It's a two-sided street, that privilege. The folks building that software have the privilege that they make a appropriate income that they can afford to give away their project for free. And you have the privilege that you can accept and work with their code for free. And at any time, those can change. Governments can set down regulations that say different industries, different organizations are not allowed to work with software that's created in a certain location, created by folks from a certain geography, from a certain political background. We saw this in particular with folks with software that was written in Russia. Over the last 3-4 years, we've seen a lot of folks look at software that's written in Russia and reject it. That's okay. You're entitled to do that. That is your privilege. You don't have to use software that's written by folks from a background that you don't want. So, but if you do decide to take in a bunch of open source packages, yeah, you need to decide how you want to manage that. And that's where open source foundations, like the Linux Foundation, like the .NET Foundation, like the Python Foundation, that's where they come in to help support those creators ensure that they have not just the financial support, but the legal support to be able to continue to develop and grow those technologies. Who do you think pays Linus Torvalds' salary? You have a lot of difficulty monetizing something you develop, Robson? Absolutely, I've been there. You saw me with Clip Talk here live on stream. Had exactly that problem. Bitwise likes the Red Hat Enterprise model. Open source, pay for support. Totally. That's absolutely a way that you can go. Don't forget, though, that the Red Hat Enterprise licensing model works because they're owned by IBM. Like, Red Hat is owned by IBM. So, yes, you can get Red Hat Enterprise Linux for free, but you're going to pay for support, and you're paying IBM for that. And IBM, no shakes to them. They are a fine software company. C# Titan, that's the question that we've had for years and years here that folks have been discussing and trying to understand here. Is it better to buy licensed products or open source products? When you're early in your development lifecycle for your organization, if you're a small software company, you're just getting off the ground, go open source. Save as much money as you can. But these are the same companies that'll outfit every one of their developers with the latest Mac laptop, spending $3,000-$4,000 a laptop for all of their developers. You could give them Lenovo's for half, 30% of that price, and spend the rest of that on the next 6 months of cloud services that your application is going to use. But that's a choice. You're effectively giving your developers a piece of jewelry versus being able to pay for your product. At some point, yes, you'll want to go commercial. And these are some of the reasons why you'll see folks put interfaces in front of, right? Put interfaces and abstractions in front of some of the open source products that they use, right? So that they can swap that out to a different implementation later. 4K MacBooks, that's right. You get the 6K overpriced Dells or Alienware, right? Same thing. For larger companies, buying is even better. Yes, that's right, Commander Nopelios. Is it Nopelios or Nopile OS? Because the entities entitle them to support. Yes. That way, you're entitled to support, and there's a legal relationship that's been connected there. Any provider of paid software is required through that to provide security updates. Yes. Right, the EU just the legal constraints that the EU is bringing down are going to hurt some open source projects. That's just the way it is because of some of the requirements they have. Your MacBook Pro is $6,800. Oh boy. No Pelios. Okay. Got it. I will remember that. So, this is okay that these folks are taking their projects commercial. You saw this with Identity Server. They removed the source code for older versions, and then they brought it back. That's their choice. That's their opportunity. If there was a project that we built here on stream that went... It got very popular and there was an opportunity to take it commercial, yes, I would take it commercial. If there was a good enough financial opportunity to take it commercial, and good enough means I'm getting paid more than I'm currently getting paid, right? Like, I think that's kind of the dream we all have. You get into something, you build it, and you recognize that I'm going to get paid pretty well for something that I've already been working on, that I really enjoy working on. That's been my hobby, my toy. Like, yes, it is a very complex topic. You are absolutely correct, Robson. But I'm not going to hold it against folks who want to create a business out of a project that they're enjoying. Supporting a paid product as a one-person band is another story. Totally agree. Totally agree. Projects that are maintained and managed by just one person and are paid at that point, it is difficult. That's where we hope that they start bringing on more folks. They get investor support so that they can build a little bit of a support organization around that. C# Titan with the question here. Do I use the Blasm extension by Jimmy Engstrom? Sure do. Yep. Really great stuff in there. Especially what I really like is he has a panel on the side that shows you all of your Blazor endpoints so that you can see and jump right into the appropriate Blazor component that exposes that endpoint. I need to go to /admin/ whatever users, click that on in that list, and it jumps right over there. It's good stuff. And gosh, Jimmy's got some great UI design in there because he lives with a fantastic UI design consultant. Jessica is amazing when you start talking to her about thinking about UI design. So yes, much respect to both Jimmy and Jessica. Jimmy said it. So another point that from Commander No Pilios here, his old company, he was paid for working on the open source. Yes, the .NET teams are being paid for building .NET as open source. And when that relationship changes and you're no longer being paid for that, something has to change. And you can see in Jimmy's blog post, his contributions to AutoMapper, to Mediator dropped off significantly because he had other work he had to do. Like, those are the things. And if we as a community want to support and continue growing the tool, we have to contribute one of three things. Your time. Are you going to jump in and review and read and help Jimmy? Your talent. Are you going to write code to go in there and help those projects? Or are you going to contribute your treasures? Are you going to pay for it? The 3 T's: time, talent, or treasures. Take your pick. Because open source projects need one of those contributions in order to survive. Totally agree here. And in Jimmy's case, he had to shift his work model because he's got a family. He's got people that depend on him. And he needs to be able to support and do that. We all do at some point. So, you've been developing a great Telegram bot integration these past few months for a company that doesn't pay you directly with the hope of turning it into a sellable product, but already getting tired. This is a little bit of what I felt with TagsApp after November. We got into November, we published and had it running for .NET Conf, and it was great. Nobody else uses it. We spent a lot of time building that live on stream. Nobody uses it. And quite frankly, it's very hard to configure and use. We spent a bit of time trying to make it easier to configure and use. Never got there. Never got finished it. There's more to be done there. But what's the motivator to keep pushing forward? You're going to get paid. You've got folks asking for features. You've got a dependent community that's giving you that endorphin rush of, yes, I'm helping these folks. There's really cool things happening here. And you're getting that support. You're getting other folks that are contributing back and giving you feedback. I get a bit of that here, developing things live with you on stream. Totally do. But there's times and places to pivot and try new things. Is TagsApp gone? No. Is any of these other projects that we're working on gone? The only one that's gone is ClipTalk. That's the only one that's gone. And that's okay. How is TagsApp different from my tag? Tags app mines and shows content from across the internet. It helps facilitate and make make interactions like this happen. Right? It does this. It also provides a little bit of research for folks that want to go through and find content online. My tag is different. My tag doesn't do that at all. It has nothing to do with hashtags. It has nothing to do with interacting with and publishing social media. That's a project that I have to desperately get back to. But I've got so many other cool things that I'm working on. Like, if I could literally take a week off from everything else and go park myself somewhere and work on it, oh my gosh. I would actually get a lot of stuff done on it. We're on an ad break here for the next 90 seconds. So, my tag is going to be itself its own social media network. And I have a good chunk of those features built. There's the primary number one feature to it. I am at a mental roadblock on building that. Like, if I could get another developer to volunteer some time to help push me, to help motivate me, it would go a long way. My April and May are jammed solid. I'm visiting St. Jude in 2 weeks. Okay, so like, I'm not going to be able to really work on it while I'm there. We have a .NET Conf event the week after. And then we've got Build in May. I'm speaking at Stir Trek in Columbus the first weekend in May. So there's a lot going on there. Oh my gosh, I don't have the Hatbot running. Oh my gosh. How did I forget that? Hang on. Go ahead, try that again. So, there's a lot that's happening. We're talking about doing a workshop online here in June. At least one workshop. Maybe a second one in July. Yeah. So, there you go. It's my shoes to die for hat. Does it? Oh, it doesn't. It didn't pick up exactly what the reference is. It's a reference to the Wizard of Oz and the ruby slippers. So, this is where, going back to our question earlier, is it better to use a model directly, train a new model, or to use a little bit of RAG and teach the model some new things? I could augment the model with a little bit of information that this is a reference to the Wizard of Oz and when I bought the hat. And then that information would pop up. So, but it's my shoes to die for hat. And referencing the ruby slippers and the yellow brick road. Yeah. So, my tag is absolutely a project that I believe in, but I'm at a very large piece of development to build, and getting properly motivated and engaged to build it is not something that is easy to do. Yeah. Like, other than when I'm streaming, even when I'm working and doing code for work, it's really hard for me to get up to an hour of focus time just writing code. It is really hard for me to do that. And to be starting and stopping when you're building something that's very complex is mentally hard. Robson with a follow-up question here. Do I think donations to support open source projects is an option. Absolutely. There was a great a great piece that was written years ago about it encouraging businesses put a couple bucks away, and when you get into the end of your fiscal year, think about how much you would have been paying for licenses for the various open source projects that you use, and make donations to them. It doesn't have to be a $50,000 donation, but you know what? Sending $1,000 to the folks that are working on the folks that are working mass transit, right? To Jimmy Bogart, if you're using Mediator, sending $1,000 to them, that makes a huge difference. It is significantly less than one developer's paycheck for 1 week that you're working for, that they would be working for you. It is significantly less than that. And considering how much value you're getting out of it, that's not bad. In fact, that's something that in many companies, that's expensable. Like, you can put that on a credit card and expense that, and nobody's going to blink and go, yeah, that's a good thing to support. Focus time. You crash from one meeting to another all day long. That's what happened to me Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Wednesday, it ended with recording the Blazer Puzzle podcast yesterday. I got done recording that and it was like, oh, forget it. Oh, forget it. So, yeah, right there with you. And this is what concerns me, is that it's become a blow up. It shouldn't be. Folks are allowed to use whatever license they want on their open source projects. And if an open source creator reaches a critical mass of, you know what, there's a lot of people using this software, the next block of features that I build, I could build, commercialize, and if 50% of my users pay for it, because it's going to be that significant a piece that I add, why not support them and let them take that leap? That's a fine thing to do. But in the case of some of those folks, in the case of Jimmy, his business opportunity changed. He wasn't getting the support from the consulting firm that he was working at to continue writing that software. And then he went out on his own. And of course, nobody's paying him to write that software.
Just resubscribed for 32 months.
Thank you so much.
Streaking is good streak.
Thank you. So, this is exactly what happens when folks say, hey, I've put a lot into something that I enjoy, that is a hobby, that is a side project. Let's go and invest more on it. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Commander Nopelios. Appreciate this support. Hype train is kicked in. We're at level 1. We're going to try to get to level 2 in the next 4 minutes and 40 seconds. Thank you. It takes ramp-up time to build the context of the code in your head and then become productive writing code. Stateful, you are spot on. Right? There is lead time to learn and understand, and let's face it, as developers, we're at the intersection of inventor and artist. We are an engineer that's at the intersection of inventing and creating, being creative. And to ramp up and get back at full speed of here's what's going on and go. Yeah. Right? Like, I am right there with you, Stateful. Focus time as a coder is precious, says Codebase Alpha. Absolutely. Have to have several contiguous hours to get the best work done. I get my best work done in the morning. Everybody clears out. I've got a nice cup of coffee. Might have a bowl of hot cereal, a little bit of oatmeal, that kind of thing. Sit down. I put on my VR headset. I block out the world. Have some nice music going. I get surrounded by my code. And I'm able to just focus and get stuff done. And to be perfectly clear, writing code while this is going on and keeping up with everything isn't productive. However, it is educational. And for this experience, I'll take that trade-off. One book for creative perseverance you recommend to everyone is The War of Art. Never heard of that. I will take a note. And, what? I need a hotkey to just launch Notepad is what I need. Take a note of that. It's similar to how shareware worked. That's right. Yep. Shareware worked similarly, and dear Lord, there's a throwback to the 80s and 90s. Yes. It's absolutely fair for these folks to ask for support. And, oh my goodness!
Anonymous just gifted 10 subs.
10 gift subscription to into the channel. Thank you so much for that support. Wow. Thank you. That is very kind. Lockheed 83, Reg 9K, Casper 573, Sir Timmy, Final Stack, Julie XPY, Little Andy 77, VV Verd, Latans, Programmer Jeff, Lockheed. You just got gift subscriptions. Thank you so much to our anonymous gifter. Thank you. That is extremely kind. You can see the number of subscribers as I'm trying to push a little bit towards the Partner Plus goals down below. So thank you so much for that support. That helps support and fund some of the projects that we work on stream that have external fees like Aspirify and the costs of running it out there on the cloud. Thank you so much. That pushes us on. We're on level 3 hype train with just under 4 minutes to go. Thank you so much. So it's fine for folks to ask for support. Totally. You see this, I mentioned it earlier. You see this with some YouTube streamers who take some of their educational content and turn it into paid for classes. Nothing wrong with that at all. But expect those folks to receive the same criticism when they're not offering free online tutorials anymore, and you have to buy their courses. And I think they're okay with that. The courses are $30 to $50 American, something like that. Fine. They're rebuilding the Pluralsight model from years ago. That's what they're doing. We'll see how that goes. Ice cream stick model. Hello. You got to check out. Head over to the Discord in the Share Projects channel over on my Discord. Ice cream stick model built a revolver out of ice cream sticks. Right? Really cool stuff. Of course, it doesn't have gunpowder or anything like that. But as a model, working model that was built, very cool stuff. I appreciate that. Software back then was a one-time payment. Then companies went to pay per new major version. Now we have subscriptions everywhere. You're right. You're right, Commander No Peleos. A one-time donation isn't really sustainable too. Totally agree. Like Patreon would be better with regular small payments than one large one-off payment. Patreon, Ko-Fi, these things, absolutely. That subscription model, it works. I mean, look, most Microsoft products are subscription model now. Windows isn't, Visual Studio isn't, but they're subscription models. You want to use Office? Annual subscription model. You want to use Xbox and some of the advanced networking capabilities out there and get free games? Subscription model. It's a way to lower the initial costs, and if you stick around long enough, end up recovering the entire block of income for the paid company that they would expect over that amount of time while they're working on vNext, right? You're paying for those continuous improvements. So, you love that intersection. Totally, I agree. Hangfire is a great library for background jobs, says Robson Previato. Fits nicely with a small project. And there's a pro version that is paid. Seems like a great model, too. but I don't think it is profitable. That's okay. That's okay. But don't forget, right? You can build background processes that run in your applications with the I-hosted service interface, but it's up to you to maintain it. And as I've been working more and more with OpenTelemetry, I firmly believe if you build a background service, you need to wire up that telemetry and the health checks for it so that you can manage and have that insight. So, context switching kills productivity, says Codebase Alpha. Completely agree. Mars questions, you can code with a VR headset? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And I've tried to broadcast and share it a little bit here on stream. You can find it in the YouTube archive. I use a tool called Immersed VR. It's free for you to use up to a certain resolution. Then they ask for you to pay. I was paying them $5 a month to use the higher resolution. But since I've bought their headset that is still not released, it's been delayed several times now, but since I bought their headset, I get it for free now. And looks like the hype train is over. We got to level 3. Thank you so much for the support there. I really appreciate that. Stateful, 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. You're humming. I help Mrs. C Sharp Fritz out of get ready, take off, and then I dive in and I start working at that point. That's why you love discussions with your colleagues about complex stuff. We can challenge our views and really think together about the optimal way to design stuff. Commander Pilios, I completely agree with that, and that's where the diversity of backgrounds on a development team is so valuable. Bringing folks with diverse perspectives, diverse backgrounds. I'm not specifically saying folks who are a different race, folks who are a different gender, folks with different experiences. Those demographic things will probably come along with that. But bringing in folks with different experiences, and that's one of the reasons that I'm kind of valuable to the .NET team, is because I worked in a .com. I worked in enterprises. I know the practical experience many folks go through and that we've discussed here on stream. And I can help with that sanity check on the products. So having those diverse backgrounds is important to challenge and improve designs on things. You're glad I make that trade-off? Well, thank you, Napalm. Appreciate that. What is today's plan to implement? We're going to be working on the startup experience in SharpSite, and we're going to go after, we're continuing to go after the idea of when you first start setting up your website, we need to deploy the database model. We need to do that migration to get you started. That's when we're going to get into there. What are my thoughts on lifetime software subscriptions since we don't live forever? I think this is a bet that some folks take. That some folks take that they expect you're not going to use the software the entire time. There's going to be a tail off. There's going to be some uptime where you're using it a lot, and then some downtime where you're not using it. So they're gambling that you're going to pay as much as they want for 2-year subscription, whatever it is. And that in 4 or 5 years, you're not really using it. Or your support needs aren't as significant. So they're taking that gamble that they can get a big payday up front to fund and help roll things over time and help that grow. Yes, it is. When you see me using the lower thirds like this, it is. Absolutely. Here, I'll even show you. We'll go over there and you can see it. In fact, gosh, I just saw in Blue Sky. Another person in the .NET community that I respect, who took their open source project commercial. Yeah, likes that post and is getting into here. So there you go. You're seeing some of the stuff pop up on the graph. How you doing there, Dr. Cox? Julie, great to see you. Reg9K, yeah, you got a gift sub. Big Screen VR is one that some folks like. Mars, you don't like software as a service? You don't like that games are going to software as a service. Games have been software as a service for 15, 20 years. Like World of Warcraft, folks were very much initially rejected the idea, oh my gosh, I'm going to pay $10 a month to play this. But when you see that you're constantly getting new content, somebody's got to be paid to create that content. Like, when you want the DLC, the extension packs, your choice is going to be, and right, Blizzard is very, very gracefully worked with both of these models, where they have the monthly subscription model with World of Warcraft, and they have the expansion pack model with Diablo. So you want to play Diablo, great. It's available for free, and after a year or so, hey, we've got an expansion pack that's available that has another class, has another land for you to go play in. The original game was $40-50. We'll sell you the expansion pack for another $20. So, which way would you like it to go? So, by going with a subscription model, you don't have to pay $60 up front to play the game. You can pay $5, and if you don't like the game after the first month, you saved $55. That's pretty good. If you do like the game, after a year, you've paid the same amount as when you initially bought the game. But you've also got how many new features, new capabilities that have been added on, and those features, those capabilities, you would be paying another $20 for the DLC, for the expansion pack. So, Game Pass Ultimate, Commander No Pelios, I have that. Yeah. So, how you doing there, Alu the Crow? You only do software as a service models. Sarcasm ain't free. I kind of agree. Hangfire is profitable. Good. That's great. And Codebase Alpha pointing out that Satya made a comment that software as a service is dead. What he was pointing towards are the little one-off companies that were building some little data snacking business management application. And quite frankly, philosophically, I very much disagree with his perspective on that. As somebody who's worked in software as a service, as somebody who's been around this industry and talks to developers and folks that use a lot of software as a service, there's a massive benefit to depending on multiple vendors. So, speaking of OTel, it's a bit of a bear setting up OTel collector to send telemetry to Datadog. Somebody was working on that. I think it was Robert Tables was working on that. And I thought Datadog had a plugin or something that you could drop into .NET Aspire to publish to Datadog. They've got a couple libraries that will publish to Datadog. So there you go. We're seeing more of the graph filling up there. There's Asheroth. Hello. Stockport is where Blazer Mr. Magoo is. Our Wrexham AFC, with the draw the other night, they had an opportunity to go 2 points clear ahead of Wycombe and missed it. It's going to come down to the wire in League One, but Stockport's clear in the knockout zone, right? In the knockout tournament. You do all the technical hiring for your company, says Stateful. It's a huge factor. Yeah. So, there we go. You play a game that had a $129 lifetime subscription, still playing 18 years later. Yeah, Reg. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it does show on the map. Yep. There you go. So it only shows one. WoW has both the monthly fee and the expansion boxes. They do, right? And World of Warcraft has absolutely shown the value of that. And when you have 5 million, 10 million subscribers, right at their height, they had, what was it, 12, 13 million subscribers paying $10 a month. That's $130 million that they're making every month, right? That's how many $billion they're making on that one game. One game annually. Like, you're not going to argue with that, right? That's a great business model. So even now when they're down at 5 million and it's $10 a month, they're still making $50 million a month. $600 million a year on that product. Yeah, totally worth it. And then that expansion box for, right, $20 and then $40, and then there's like an $80 premium that comes with an art book and stuff. Totally get it. Yeah, once you're on the map, it doesn't replace your location. You'd like them to make a good Diablo again? Frizz Diskin, I couldn't get into Diablo 4, but I really like Diablo 3. So, software sarcasm as a service, you can get behind that. Gosh. First computer games that Blazer Mr. Magoo played were SAS mainframe over a dial-up. Yeah, you had to pay to get access to that computer. ACA has a managed feature to use, sadly, and you can't configure to do sampling. Okay. No, I did not get to the Aspire question. No, did not get to it. Good to see you, Asheroth. Hello. Yeah, you're gonna have to come in on a Saturday to work on it. Bobby Tables. Wickham. Oh, okay. Okay. See, right. You can tell that I'm reading it online and that I don't get the video audio feeds. Right, Wickham. All right. I did get your message on GitHub fail to connect, and that's okay. I'm not actively working on Tags app on this stream. Happy to connect with you and talk further about it. But it's the integration with Discord for Tags app is something. So fail to connect. When we were working on Tags app, offered to help out with the Discord provider. That's something that I want to get up and running before the next .NET Conf. So I've got a list of things there that I'm working through. There's Asheroth. So, and fail to connect. There we go. Sure, you want to put Denver up there? There we go, Reg. So, the map is filling out. I feel like I need a way to expand this so it takes up more of the screen without, like, going zoom crazy. Right? Because it wants to... Right? Like... Yeah. And then once I'm zoomed in, it's like... Oh, who's this over here with the portal? And somebody's way out here. What is that? No. Anyways. It's Napalm in Pittsburgh. There we go. Yes, that is bootstrap styling. Yep. Yep. So, and of course, there's lots more I could do with it. But I think I'm going to end up replacing this map, the leaflet map, with the progress software map. No, I didn't put my icon on there. Here, I'll do that real quick. There we go. Now the C# icon is in there, hiding in that cluster of hats in the northeast. How would you end up on that map? Say hello, greet us, and mention your location. Good morning from, good afternoon from, hi, I'm in, hello from, those types of things. There's a regex of about 10 different ways that folks typically introduce and say where they're watching from. And when you mention where you're from, it'll drop a hat icon in that location. So, the largest man-made structure? All right. So, and it's... There you go. And eventually we'll turn this into a little bit of a little bit of a tour, and it'll spin around and show different locations that folks are watching from. So, some of our friends watching up there in Finland. Nice. Lots of folks in the States, a couple folks down in Brazil, and somebody saying that they're in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Sure. No, it's not the kind of your subscription, but it does, if you are a subscriber, it shows that one icon. So I didn't make it that sophisticated in choosing exactly which one it is. And the folks on YouTube, if they mention, they get a red hat that appears over there. For purple hat for folks on Twitch, red hat for folks on YouTube. So, but I did want to make sure I used the, right, so I wanted to make sure I used the lower thirds like that for some of the questions that we would get to today, and discussing what was going on with some of these open source projects that are out there. Yeah, no, it's right there. There I am. That's where I am. Philadelphia. So, and there we go. Ramtana showing up in DC. So we should see. There you go. You can see Ramtana there on YouTube, popping up in Washington DC. So, you saw changes to the Twitch terms of service. Is that why the Restream bot is not echoing YouTube comments? No, I thought it was. It is. It just did that. You saw just be above your message, Reg, is the message from YouTube. Yeah, we can have a powwow on the Discord about it. You got it, Fail too. Yep. Philly should be a gritty icon. I did have a few hours flight to Redmond. I did. And that's why Fail to Connect is hearing me talk a little bit more about TagZap, because there's some things I was talking to folks about at MVP Summit about TagZap, and things that we said, this might be interesting to work on and add to the application. So, yeah, it's evening, it's late at night in Asia, Australia here right now. So, yeah, we're primarily seeing some folks over here in the Western Hemisphere and Europe. I don't think anybody's actually in Africa. I think this is just right. These are two people that are playing games with us, and that's okay. That's why it's here, to play games and share. And have a little bit of fun with that. But maybe I need to make these click through from this screen and also order it. Angola is where Coding with Carlos is? Okay. Dukasoft dropping a pin in Denmark, and it didn't drop a pin in Denmark properly for Dukasoft. That, yeah. I have a feeling that's... Anyways. North Carolina is where Asheroth is. There you go. Take a look at our American friends. Middelburg in the Netherlands. There you go. Some of our European friends. Enjoy the free bug. Yeah, thanks so much, Dukasoft. Thanks. Where'd it go? I will remove that one. I need to put the delete button on here so I can delete that easily. Go ahead, you can send that one in again and it'll pick up. There are definitely people in Africa. Oh, yeah, yeah. Are there people watching from Africa? Have a good one, Bitwise. There we go. Now we got the... There we go. Yeah, See, I tried to make sure that it excluded emotes, but when you have towns and locations that have spaces between them, Rio de Janeiro, right? 3 words, but Denmark duck emote. Well, how do we recognize that duck emote shouldn't be included? Tricky. So, and these are all approximate locations, right? Not trying to give away anybody's real location or anything like that. Arthur's Zone, welcome. Appreciate the follow here on Twitch. Washington Courthouse, Ohio wouldn't work. Actually, it would. It will. It's going to take a little bit to get there. But it'll get there. That's a lot of hats. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We were talking about adding this feature to .NET Conf. And see what kind of population comes through. That could be fun. For .NET Conf in November. I think there's a bit of work where we'd want to do to it first. And we may want to, because it's a Microsoft event, we may want to use the official Bing Maps APIs and Bing Maps maps. So, gotta love overnight storms. We had some pretty good storms Tuesday night here. You know, over this weekend. So this weekend, we're taking out my RV for the first time and going camping with it. It's the first time that we'll have the RV out and running, and I'm so looking forward to this and trying it for the first time. And I'm looking at that and going, it's going to rain this weekend. So we're going to see how that goes. So that's absolutely a thing this weekend that we're going to be dealing with. Dear Lord. Was it hard to drive? We'll see. I've towed my horse trailer before. That's not hard. But the horse trailer is only 16 feet. What is that? Like 6-7 meters? Right? Do I have that right? The RV is 28 feet. So that's about 8.5 meters. So that's totally a thing that, oh boy, we're going to learn about real quick, towing that, dealing with it. So we shall see. Let me see here. Bing Maps Enterprise is shutting down next year. Yeah, there's an Azure Maps feature that's available out there that they want folks to transition to. Doman, mention that as a little bit of a right. I'm in Illinois, or good morning from, or something to kind of communicate your location, not just the name of that location, and it will plot your location on the map. You have to leave rainy Tulsa and spend Friday and Saturday in Orlando. Oh, darn. Oh, darn. Wife's going from rainy Texas to rainy Tennessee. Yeah. Orlando Code Camp's a fun time. So at least I get to drive the RV in a big open country. Should be fine. I think so. Up and down a mountain. Oh, darn. Gosh. So I'll go over here to the map one more time, and then we'll get into our project here today. So thank you so much, folks, sharing location and putting hats on the map. I need to make this appear every now and again on stream, or share a screenshot over to Discord every now and again. Better call Sean. Yes, that's right. Our friend Sean is in Wrexham. Oh, I was disappointed that they had a draw the other night. Cambridge, right? That's who they were playing. So, yeah, there you go, Damon. There you go. There's the Illinois hat for you there, and it's just randomly placed in the state. And I'm surprised it wasn't closer to Chicago that it placed it. But it was disappointing. So, trying that Washington Courthouse, Ohio. You're going to try that one again, are you? I think it got it, Chris. There you go. So, yeah, better call Sean and code with Sean. There's a thing going on there. Lesson learned, don't mess with Sean. So, all right, let's London, Canada. Did it it dropped an Ontario hat there for you. So I don't think it did. No, it didn't do London, England, because you said London, Canada. So, oh, and then yes. Yeah, close enough, Anonymous. So, yeah. Right, and I purposely round the precision on the coordinates so that it's close enough. So, do I have a good example of OAuth with Blazor 8? Nothing that isn't in the documentation. That's where I would go. Aspirify uses OAuth. Let me back up. So we had a question a little bit ago to start things off from Mythin. Asking about how to do SSL certificates with .NET Aspire. And it's kind of rough. I'll show you quickly here. Because I hard-coded mine. So when you go into app host here, there is a way, I forget exactly where it hangs. I think it's on the web application to add information about your certificates. If you go and register the application, right? Like, do that first deployment, then set it up with the certificate online, right? We'll get into the portal here, and I'll try not to dox myself. I think it's this one. And it's just called web. Yeah. So when you set this up, right? Custom domains. I clicked through and did all the custom domain setup here. And then go into the overview after you've set it all up and grab the JSON view. This will have the certificate ID and information about the project. No end then. Once you have that, let's go to, I believe it's in my C drive. Come on now. Spirify. I do the AZD infrasynth, and it generates all the bicep for it. And I believe I'm looking for it. It is... Yeah, here it is. In Web Temple YAML. Inside the app host infra folder, there's this YAML that is the configuration. There's a block here in the ingress that there's a method that will do this for you. You have to set it up initially so you can get the certificate IDs, okay? But, and I'm not going to scroll over to show you the whole thing here because that becomes a security thing. So I turned on sticky sessions and I set up the custom domain and the certificate ID. These values are sitting in that JSON view, okay? Copy those values out and place them in the JSON here, just like it appears there. And then the next time you deploy, it will maintain that domain name. But you need to do the initial domain name association and SSL certificate
And then
on the Azure Container app first. So deploy, it's out there, it's running, it's not on the production domain name yet. Create the certificate with as you associate the domain name, and you can copy these values for it. I'll show it again. It comes from the JSON view. The values that you need are inside here, and they look the exact same as this block. I can't show you that live on stream because I'll be showing my IDs, right? So I hope that gets you pointed in the right direction. No more and thens. No more. Good day, sir. So I want to use a regex to solve my problem. Now I have two problems.
and then
Go ahead, take a look at the hat. There you go. You thought I was asking a question myself? No, we're good. So there's the hat command. There you go. On Aspire, when you make a reference to a service, a database, how should we treat the connection string name when publishing? Several ways. If you included the database So, yeah, this is a Spirify, right? Yeah. When I'm running locally, where is it? When I'm running locally, I add Postgres directly. And it gives me the connection string in the form of connection strings underscore security in my case. And you can see it right there. Because when I'm running in production, I've hard-coded the connection string there so that it doesn't try to deploy another database every time I deploy. Like, it was trying... And this is feedback that I've given to the AZD team, and they've looked at this and they said, yeah, you shouldn't be running into this. So they want me to start using the add Azure Postgres database hosting model, and I've gently pushed back on them. Why, when it's not going anywhere, it's not changing, I can just use this and work directly. And this is an environment variable that is coming in from a key vault now, so I don't care. Like, that moment is gone of configure deploy because the database is already out there. So I touched on a couple things there. I hope I answered your question. Yes, there's my hat. Might have to put a cooldown on the end command. No. And I'm going to be moving that into Charlie as well. Oh, the sound things we're putting into Charlie. And we're going to put some bit redemptions in there for various sound effects. So you'll be able to cheer, and there will be some premium sound effects that you'll be able to activate and have pop up there. McNett saying in from Lebanon. Okay, sure. There you go. So, in your early days, you made a soundboard with shortcuts that was sitting in the tray. Coworkers' reactions varied. Yeah. Right? It's fun. So, all right. We don't need to look at Azure. Bosco Stones. Hello. Welcome. Appreciate you joining us here. The Bog Rat. The Bog Rat. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Nope, it picks up Code with Sean. It picks up the more populous of locations. So I said hi from Philly, and it placed Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It did not place Philadelphia, Mississippi. Gamer name, cool. That's awesome. What do you play, Bograt? Is it Pristine? Pristino. Okay. Hello. Welcome. Appreciate you joining us. So, yeah, the map is filling out with folks saying hello from their various locations. So, always enjoyed my content. Thank you. Oh my gosh. I appreciate it. I didn't even see that. Bruce Billis. Bruce. Yes. Much respect to Bruce Willis. And the medical issues he's going through. And right, we lost Val Kilmer the other day. So, great actor to watch in his various movies that he was in. The Saint, Top Gun, so on and so forth. Yeah. You caught me at a Telerik conference in San Francisco several years back. Oh my gosh. There's a throwback. That was 10 years ago. Oh. Just thinking that I've been speaking at conferences for 10 years. Like, you're reminding me how old I am. Oh, okay. Sean, stop it. Here's the thing. And I'm glad that nobody was doing that while we were at the bar. So last week I got to meet up and spend some time with Code with Sean at the Microsoft MVP conference. I wasn't speaking, but I was there helping to moderate and do some other interactions during the event. But there were a number of folks, and you're always welcome to. I'm not going to say no if we're in the conference setting and you'd like to get a selfie, you'd like to say hello, you want to shake my hand, what have you. I am never going to say no to that. When I'm out at a restaurant or out with my family or hanging out at the hotel bar, selfie is not as welcome at that time, but you want to shake my hand and say hello, as long as I'm not there with my family, if it's the bar after hours after a conference and we're there with a group, absolutely, please stop by, say hello. I want to meet you. I want to say hello. I want to thank you for watching the stream, and folks that did see me last week and visited, I absolutely wanted to respect and say hello. What I need to do, I've been wanting to do this for years. What I need to do is I need to start making challenge coins and sending them out. Folks that have been subscribers for a long time, I need to send you a challenge coin. Because if you go to an event where I'm at, right, some professional technical event, or I'm doing a training, whatever, somewhere near you, and you attend and you show me that challenge coin, yep, I'm much respect to you. And on the other side of that, if you're just a viewer and I haven't issued you a challenge coin, I want to have stickers that I can give out to folks. You got one of those at a conference a couple years ago? So I was, for a while, I was giving out pins. Yeah, I bought a bunch of pins. There you go, you can see. Right? And these are cheap. These aren't enamel pins, right? It's a little plastic thing that has a sticker inside of it, but it's a nice pin. I mean, not great, but you're a sucker for a pin. I'm the same way, especially the enamel pins. So I would want to get enamel pins made or something like that, but at some point I should have more of that to be able to hand out. Ads starting soon. You're right. I do want to pivot and get over to SharpSite and get working on that and talking about database interactions. But I want to respect you and have a great time talking tech with the folks that are here in chat and want to discuss the various things that have been going on. And I think we're at about a slow down point where we're okay to jump over there. I'll leave Charlie running in the background to collect messages, to collect questions so that I can queue them up. You want this introverted guy to stop by and say hello? You think I would have the courage? Yeah. I don't want you to be intimidated by me. I'm just another guy that happens to have a camera and a microphone sitting in his spare bedroom talking to folks. Please, I am just like many of you out there. Absolutely. Please stop by, say hello. I want to see you. I want to say thank you to you. And look, I'm just as introverted. Can I tell you how much it took for me to get up the guts to go say hello to Scott Hanselman? Like, and now the guy has my phone number and just calls me on a whim. Like, what the hell? That took guts for me, right? And that was, ooh, you were just kidding? Good.
Dr. Scott!
He's nice. You talk to him at the summit. He's totally normal. Yeah. Thank you. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Too many Scots too quickly there. There is a little bit of a cooldown on the Scots. Almost done my coffee. This is not good. Not good. We're gonna have a problem with this. What happened there? No, that's fine. Okay. I still had the calendar reminder on my phone popping up. Hey, you have a live stream to start. Yeah, I'm doing that right now. Ugh. Anyways, yeah, the Hanselman. So, you got introduced to him through his power tools list? Yeah, and his blog from years and years ago. Yes. The bog rat says, oh, and we just went to commercial. I will wait 2 minutes on the ads before I come back to the bog rats comments. How about Dan Roth? Love the Blazer content. Yeah, oh my gosh, Dan's fantastic. I was in a chat discussion with him yesterday. We added an ASP.NET session to .NET Conf focus on modernization. So there's a 5th session on the first day of that now. So just a reminder, a hint. If you have a question, something you want me to spend a little bit more time answering, you can trigger it to appear on the lower thirds by ending it with a question mark or by putting my name in the message, and it will get loaded into the question queue. All right. So you're back. Bograt asks, would appreciate any thoughts on the direction of ASP.NET and migration suggestions, if any, for older ASP.NET projects using web forms and MVC that are developing new features. Literally, the Bograt, you are landing right on one of the key topics for the upcoming .NET Conf event that I'm producing. Go to focus.netconf.net. We're talking about modernizing applications, and that's one of the key topics we want folks to know about, to explore. How do you get from the older .NET framework, which is still very much supported, how do you get from those old techniques and technologies to the modern .NET 9 frameworks? So there is, in the Upgrade Assistant tool, there is a feature that will create a .NET 9 website and use something called YARP. Y-A-R-P. YARP is a reverse proxy, and it will set up so that if a request comes into that website that doesn't have anything to start with, that it doesn't know how to handle, it will route it instead over to the website you're migrating. So you're migrating an ASP.NET MVC or an ASP.NET Web Forms application. If a request comes in for orders ASPX, well, your website, the new website, doesn't know how to do anything with that yet. So it will route over to the other one and present that content. I gave a presentation on this at Microsoft Ignite in November. So if you go back to Ignite, you'll find my session there where I showed and talked about doing that upgrade process. The source code is linked on that. Taylor Southwick from the ASP.NET team is going to be speaking at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern Time as part of the .NET Conf Focus event. Thank you for the link. And we'll talk through some of that. Scott Hanselman will be starting the day talking about some of the architecture challenges and planning and some of the good things that you want when you think about upgrading your applications. Okay? So really good stuff that's going to be all part of that event, and we're going to make sure that folks have a lot of materials that they can take home after that. No, not Taylor Swift. Taylor Southwick. Yoda. Kiss My Pixels says, since following the stream, I've picked up and dropped .NET about 4 times. Just picked it up again and went through EF Core docs. This time it clicked more, and I seem more interested in getting into it as a Spring developer. Hey, that's great. And if there's questions, if there's things that you're struggling with, drop us a message on the Discord. This group of folks always happy to chime in and get you nudged in the right direction to do more with that. .NET Conf, focus.netconf.net. And that'll get you there. So, definitely looking at upgrading. Seems like ASP.NET has gone in so many directions over the past decade, and there's concern about selling the cost of migration to stake in shareholders. That's one of the things that Scott's going to be talking about. And we've got customers that have shared that are going to be sharing. Here's the relative cost, both in time and in real finances, the cost of doing the upgrade. But because we did the upgrade, we saw this much cost savings because it performs so much faster. We saw this much in cost savings because we can integrate and use these cloud features that run on smaller, faster instances. We're able to use containers at that point. And our deployment story is faster, better, easier to manage, and we realize savings. There's a great story that somebody posted, I think it was on Reddit, about how they migrated one of their hundreds of applications at their enterprise, and they literally were seeing six figures, $100,000 savings every month because of the reduced amount of maintenance they needed to do, because of the better performance and memory management that they had, because they were able to run it on containers and pack multiple instances on the same server so that they could run and load balance across multiple services that were running. $100,000 a month is $1.2 million you're saving a year. Is that worth the migration to you? I bet there's some folks in your finance department that would say yes. So, do I know of any tool that does load balancing on Windows? We were using NBL, but it's not working very well. What's the container? There's a container that does that you can run on Windows that'll do load balancing. I forget the name of it. There's a very well-known container, and I'm blanking on the name of it right now. That will take care of that for you. Yeah, UNESCO, thank you for that. That's the correct link for the Focus event. It's shoot. Docker container. It's a load balancer and proxy, and I've run it a number of times here for other things. HA proxy, that's it. You can run HA proxy in a container on a Windows machine and load balance to other containers, and it's really good. Takes a bit to queue up there, but it's really, really good. Where is it here? It's not cost, it's repaying technical debt. That's right. You better believe it, Commander Nopelios. And that comes with savings in performance, development speed, lesser maintenance because of better testability. Yes. Yes. Right? Then bring in something like Playwright to help with integration testing. So, you've seen that firsthand in the federal space. Stateful, I'd love to hear more. I would love to hear more. If you can share something over on Discord and talk further, I'd be very interested in hearing more. Can you ask a Python question here? Asks Roxon. I'm not a Python expert, so you can ask a question, and some of the other folks in chat might be able to help, but I am not a Python expert. So, you do load balancing with Nginx in a container. Yeah, that works too. That works too. So, cool. Thank you, Stateful. All right. I do want to get back into SharpSite, but DJ Deepex.
Deep just resubscribed for 9 months. Best wishes from Germany, Jeff.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And thank you to a couple followers that joined us there while we were chatting. Compact Disc, Delay K, and Night Showerer, welcome. Thank you so much for the follows. All right, I am... What are we going to do here? I can close the Aspirify source code. I wanted to go back into SharpSite. And, oh, what happened there? Nope, I scrolled. So, cool. I want to go back into SharpSite, and I grabbed and set up some Copilot instructions. I grabbed some instructions for Blazor developers that some folks were using with Cursor. I grabbed some other custom instructions that I saw out there, and I copied them together, and I created a custom instruction set for Copilot to see if it would help with Copilot use here on stream as we're working on SharpSite. We'll take a look at that and see if it helps with some of our results and suggestions that the Copilot AI gives us. Jubail asks, what's the easy way to get started building my own web service? All this stuff about setting up servers and accounts and containers and load balancing and scalability seems too much to start. You're right. You're right. This is exactly, this right there is exactly why we're building .NET Aspire. Because for us as developers, that's a lot of extra junk.
You have just resubscribed for 74 months.
74 months. Thank you so much bringing that Prime subscription. Much appreciate. Thank you. .NET Aspire is set up as a tool set and framework so that you can very explicitly declare relationships between your database and your website and other resources that you have in your application system, and it will help facilitate in an opinionated way. You're welcome to not agree with it and take charge and set up your own configuration coming out of it. It's easy to do, but in an opinionated way, it's going to set up the servers, the various accounts to securely connect to each other, the load balancing capabilities, the scaling. It's going to set up an initial set of those capabilities for you when you deploy using the tools that are available to work with .NET Aspire that'll help you get into Kubernetes, help you get into Azure, help you get into AWS. So these other tools have their own opinions that help you deploy and use those services. You'll see a little bit about how we use that here with SharpSite in a minute. Is Aspire ready to go? Yes. Is it .NET only? No. It is not .NET only. The configuration for .NET Aspire is done with C#. However, outside of that initial configuration, you can bring in Java projects, JavaScript projects, TypeScript projects, Rust projects, anything you can build and stuff in a container. You can bring in Python projects. You can bring in, what else? Those are the big ones. So it will build and run whatever you point it to. You need to bring in those appropriate configuration items, those packages that support those other tool sets, but it's easy to do, and we're making it even easier in the next versions of .NET Aspire. More on that, because we want to make sure that .NET Aspire is a thing that if you're not using .NET, you're going to want to grab and use inside of your project. We want to make it easy for folks to do. Roxanne Cathar. I'm new to programming. I don't know much. I made a crawler using crawl for AI and used CSS classes to locate the data. but it doesn't work properly and I can't go to the next page. Should I use something other than CSS classes to locate the data? CSS classes are kind of a naive way to go about crawling and looking for data. Playwright will help you, and you can use Playwright with Python, will help you crawl and find and locate data and hand it off to other APIs inside your Python application. I would look at using other attributes and tags to crawl and look for data that you want to consume. Building a crawler that navigates and consumes data, I would make sure that I encourage you to be a good internet citizen. And if somebody has a robots text file that specifies what pages you're allowed to read and what pages you're not allowed to read, make sure that you read and obey their requests. Otherwise, they're going to start blocking you. They're going to see you coming and start blocking you. But other than CSS classes, other folks will use technologies like Xlink to identify tags and attributes that you specifically want to look for. CSS classes go a certain distance. And when folks change the layout of their website, they'll break your crawler. So, you're going to want to look for the intents that are on that website, and that's what Playwright encourages folks to do. Look for the intent of a section of code, parse and grab that. So, and there's that question about, is Aspire ready to go, or is it .NET only? No, it is not .NET only. You're going to see more where we're making it more friendly to more non-.NET ecosystem folks. Nope, you don't develop in C#. You can hook .NET Aspire directly up to Python. Can we do let's do a live demo. Let's do a live demo. It's been a while since I've done a live demo here. I'm going to do this in Visual Studio just because it's a little bit easier to show how these pieces fit together. I'm going to grab the .NET Aspire starter app and kick this off. And after I'm done a few things here, I'll show you how to do these things at the command line. Okay, and we have some new command line tools coming for .NET Aspire soon. So, all right, and yeah, I'm in here. And when you look at the Solution Explorer, of course, it's got 4 projects. App Host is the entry point for .NET Aspire. Service Defaults contains all those services that you want to integrate, that you don't want to build, but you want to integrate into your application at some point. You want telemetry. You want health checks. It's just a pain in the neck to build them. Well, we have this for .NET folks to help you automatically add these things. There's endpoints that are exposed by the dashboard that you can hook up to with Python, JavaScript, your language of choice, and connect to. The HTTP client in .NET, we set up some resiliency for it, and you can scroll through and see exactly how those are configured. This is completely open source, the code that it generates. But you want to integrate a Python application with your Aspire project. The Aspire project starts off here by default in the default template, right, that has this sample app that ships with it. It has an API microservice that it builds that's sitting right here. And it has a web front end that's built with .NET that's sitting right here. These are .NET projects, so because they're native, they get the keyword of add project. And I can specify with external HTTP endpoints. It exposes the ingress for that project. Take a reference to the API service. Wait for the API service to be running before you start this project, and then run the whole smash. But you want to add Python. So let's add Python. No, don't do it that way. I'm going to right click and we're going to choose add. No, it's somewhere else. Where is it? Why don't .NET Aspire package? See it right there. And it gives me a couple tags here to make sure that we're getting official .NET Aspire integration capabilities. And I'm going to add to the end of this that I want Python. There we go. Aspire hosting Python. Go ahead and install that, John. And now if I go back over to the program. Sure. I can do builder, add Python app. Give it a name. My Python app, sure. Tell it what folder, where does it live on disk? Python app. Where's the script path for it? I don't know. And any script arguments that go along with it. Any virtual environment path you want to pass in as well. Right? I'm missing something else here. No, we're good. Yeah. So they're testing that out, but there's also Add Python project. Yeah, it's released for compatibility. It's been deprecated. But Add Python app will get you up and running here. Yeah. Right, it needs some more. Sure. No, I did the DuckDuckGo command. All right. With external HTTP endpoints, we'll expose the Python app as, I'll zoom in a smidge there. We'll expose the Python app for ingress, right? And you can pass in references to these other APIs, and it will create an environment variable so that you can get a reference to the API service and be able to integrate and work with that. You're impressed by what .NET MAUI is able to do on a Meta Quest? Yes. DJ Deepex, look at Ed Charbonneau. Ed Charbonneau's been doing a lot with that. .NET MAUI is growing significantly. Aspire works with .NET 8, .NET 9, SP Tremblay. Those are the language, the framework versions to run the app host and the service defaults. You can bring in other versions of .NET as websites for it to run. So, single page applications, you can host those also. I do need a John command. You're not wrong there. I also need a jabroni command. PWA is going to be installed on desktop and mobile. Oh, yes. And Blazor with WebAssembly is fantastic for building a PWA. You're interested in doing shared state across clients. Writing a server database and not keeping live data in server memory. Live data in server memory isn't terrible as long as you persist it occasionally to disk. Caching in memory is a very effective scaling strategy as long as you persist it to disk. SignalR helps with that, yes. That environment variable will be injected to the arguments. Yes, it will. Yep. So let me jump back over, right? So we did a little bit of a live coding and demo there. Let's run this, and we'll come back to this in a second. Come on now. It's in source. That's why you can't find it. No, .NET, watch that, John. See, John. The environment variable is in .NET, accessible through iConfiguration. Because it's an environment variable that will get injected in if you're in JavaScript, access it, and a Node application, access it like you would any other environment variable. Same thing with Python and Java and so on and so forth. So the database is being passed into my web front-end project here. So if we look at the details, right? So .NET Aspire comes with this dashboard to show you all the things. You can see the environment variables that are being injected into your running application. Some of these come from the application, from the framework, from your application's framework. Many of them come from .NET Aspire. So connection string SharpSite, this is coming in from .NET Aspire, and you can see localhost, username, password, database. This is being generated and managed by Aspire with the intent that when you get to a production space, this is being replaced with the connection string for your database. So it does whatever secure connection to that database. To throw back to the original question, in your production space, .NET Aspire, when deploying, will try to configure service principals on Azure. I know the Azure one like the back of my hand. It'll configure service principals that are running your database, running your website, and instead of creating a password and a user to connect into the database, it will grant that service principal on the website access to work with the database. So your connection string is just the database server name. They will also set up the network connection and the network firewall for the database so that only the website, in my case, is able to connect in and work with the database. It does all of those secure things by default. This is what I mean when I say the opinionated deployment of these things. You might not want that. You might want ugly password out there that you need to figure out how to key in every time you want to connect to that database. That's up to you. It's not the way that we recommend, we, Microsoft, recommend that you do database security. We recommend you secure and only allow those users to connect. No password. That user that's running that application is allowed to access. The dashboard has evolved really well. See every day the tweets from James Newton King. Oh, yeah. So we'll probably be doing a stream early next week here where we update Aspirify to .NET Aspire 9.2 and tinker with some of the new features of the dashboard. This dashboard runs in a Docker container. Anybody's allowed to download and use that Docker container with your projects. It manages and does all this OpenTelemetry presentation, showing you traces, showing you structured logging that you can sort through and filter and so forth, showing you metrics. So you can see exactly how your website is being used. Fantastic stuff. It's OpenTelemetry. It's an open standard that anybody can use, and we're trying to make it easier and as easy as possible for everybody to get the most out of this. We really like it. Ads start in 5 seconds. I'll see you in just a few over here on Twitch. If you're not a subscriber, coming back over to talk about SharpSite. Is DevTunnel integration here already? No. There's ways to make it work, particularly on the new the next version of the dashboard, because you can change the names and locations and the URLs for some of the services so that you can do it with DevTunnels. But it's not a very, very integrated feature yet. It's coming. Ads are on for the next 90 seconds on Twitch. Can we pre-configure dashboards with a list of multiple metrics that will be rendered in graphs at once? You can define and add your own metrics. Yes. So you can absolutely create and add your own metrics. That's not something where you're configuring a dashboard, but when your website, when your application starts up, you can define and add other metrics there, and they will get configured and appear over here as they're starting to get logged. Work blocked ngrok? Oh, that's annoying. That's annoying. I understand why, but it's annoying. Bytes written? Sure. Database connection usage? Okay. So, active requests. Well, I haven't actually clicked through to the website yet. So, like, right? That's a thing. Back over here, metrics. There's Postgres. Command duration. There you go. So you can see exactly how long the commands are taking over on the database. Connection create time, but yeah. Bytes read, so you can see how much we've loaded off the database. Right. There we go. That's the one that I like to see. The request duration, right, is showing you how long the request took to present here. So, right, we can filter this and say, well, just show me the root website request. And, right, the exemplar is 380 milliseconds. For a first request, that's fine. It's not being cached, right? If I hit that a few more times, bounce around here a little bit, we'll see some more requests pop up here. Turn off the filter, right? And you can see the requests that came through here are like nothing because it's cached. It's wired up now. Fantastic. Watching request duration and active requests on one chart. If you want to do that more sophisticated type of dashboarding, then you can wire up in Prometheus and Grafana and be able to build a little bit more sophisticated dashboard if you have additional needs like that. It shows a TLS cert error because of a reason why block page. That is annoying. So, anyways, there you go. There's the nickel tour getting into .NET Aspire. Thank you, Roxanne Cathar 3. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Thank you so much. And I wonder, I don't think our friend Maddie was watching. So we have a little bit of an idea to bring Maddie on and do a little bit of pair programming, working on a project that she's been building and using to test and learn and tinker with and explore the new .NET Aspire features as the .NET Aspire team is working on them. I don't want to steal her thunder or suggest to anybody the project and somebody goes and runs and starts building it before she gets it published. I'll let her manage that. But what would you think if we brought Maddie on and did a little pair programming for an hour or two, one stream here coming up in April, May? What would you think about that, friends? Would you be interested in doing a little pair programming with Maddie? So, if you haven't seen us, Maddie and I are complete chaos when we present together. When we co-present things, it is chaos. It is a Boston sports fan and a Philadelphia sports fan who are nagging each other, and it is I think it's a little entertaining, to be frank. Maddie's awesome. If you had a bigger load from back end to front end, would you compress it first and decompress on client? I do. Yes. The compression DJ Deepex that you will see by turning on Brotli compression on your service, especially once you start caching the response. The compression and delivery of it, the decompression time is minimal. If you're delivering, if you're compressing and getting something down to 50K, 100K, totally worth it. Totally worth it. Maddie's always a good guest. Hell yeah, Maddie's amazing. What you building? We're going to be working on SharpSite here a little bit. I do owe some co-streams with Carl and Richard, and we're going to try and bring on Scott. Scott really wants to do a little bit of live coding together, and we need to figure out a good time to bring him on.
Dr. Scott!
Yeah, him. That guy. You might know him, right? Dear Lord, the number of Dr. Scott and Scott yells that will come on when he joins stream. It's going to be bad. Brotli is super great. If you need a bit more, you can have a look at gRPC Web. But gRPC pushes content in protocol buffers. So you're already like destroying the readability of stuff. And then you're going to layer on top of it, right? So it's effectively gRPC to oversimplify is minifying your content. And then layering Brotli or gzip compression on top of it is going to make things even smaller. No, I don't have commands from Jeff. Don't. No. So Harish, we're working on SharpSite. I don't have a command here. Let's put the project command out here. Adding database configuration to the installation of SharpSite. And I'll give a link to the SharpSite website. SharpSite is a open source CMS that we've been building together here on stream. After some of the chaos that came out of WordPress, we decided let's have some fun and build a little bit of a content management system together here. You got to meet Scott Guthrie last week. Happened to be at the right place while he was being moved for a better background for pictures after his talk. You got to say hi and get a quick fist bump. I don't run into any of the vice presidents in our company at all. Other than the ones that I directly work for, I do not see executives or work with them at all. Like, they do their thing, I do mine. If they know who I am, it's usually a bad thing. Occasionally when we talk about .NET Conf, my name comes up because .NET Conf is usually a very successful event. But for the most part, yeah, those folks don't know who I am. So that's a thing. And that's fine. They don't need to know who I am. I do my thing. You're on your way to the Seattle Mariners opening game on Thursday. Nice. My shuttle driver that was taking me back to the airport after I dropped off my car, my rental car for the week. Yeah, they were gung-ho about the Mariners the whole drive. So you got to meet Anders. I have so much respect for Anders, it's not even funny. And sometimes I gush a little too much about how much I respect Anders. But hey, the guy's done some really cool things. I added a little bit of a I added some suggestions here to the Copilot instructions. I grabbed some of these from instructions Some folks were using for cursor. I customized them a little bit. I grabbed some other instructions some other folks were using, and I kind of smashed them together to give Copilot some custom instructions in the Copilot instructions file. I haven't added this to the repository yet. You're a senior Blazor and .NET developer experienced in C#, ASP.NET Core, and Entity Framework Core. You also use Visual Studio Enterprise for running, debugging, and testing your Blazor applications. When it comes to Blazor code style and structure, write idiomatic and efficient Blazor and C# code. Like, these are instructions for Copilot that it should follow and use to help build better code. We'll see. You started with Delphi, went to .NET on the clients, and now you use TypeScript, so your whole career is based on Anders products. Nice. More power to you. I learned Turbo Pascal in college. I didn't stop at Delphi, but jumped over to C#. I occasionally use TypeScript. So, same. I have expressed my gratitude to Anders for inventing those programming languages several times, and it's probably been several times minus one too many. Is the Copilot code review already online? Yes. Maybe I changed the sounds like to not to pirate, then to what? Yeah, Copilot code review is up there. Right? Like, you can click into a pull request. Look at all those merges. Copilot code review request. So, yep, that's available. But where I want to go today, right? So you'll see those Copilot instructions come in. Where'd it go? Did I put it there? Yeah, there it is. Sure, let's add that to start. There we go. Added Copilot instructions. And I'll set up the pull request. Thank you. And we're going to go into, not main, the 07 release train. Yep. I'll make this a draft PR. And right now there are 5 files changed. Yeah, what are they? I updated my Copilot instructions. The application state model, I started adding configuration. Application state. Get configuration by name. So that when we're somewhere else, we can kind of reference and pull that. And I started refactoring these so we can start injecting configuration. So let's try the code review. Let's see what Copilot has to say. Have a good one, Code with Sean. You can tell it that it's Persona. Absolutely. You're making a small converter for tiny MCE, and Copilot gave you a bomb for an icon. Nice. Here we go. Pull request view introduces the ability to configure database connection. Added a step 3 Razor component to collect database connection. True. Updated step 2 to redirect to the new database configuration step of marking startup as completed. Extended the application state model with new properties and an overridden configuration getter to support database connection strings. Yes. Copilot reviewed and generated 1 comment. File is named application state, but the class is application state. You're right, the file's named wrong. Yes, that's what we're building next. All right, back over here. The file's named wrong. The file's named wrong? So, right? Appla, it is named wrong. Why didn't anybody tell me the file was named wrong? Oh. I'm here. Come on. What do we got? Yes. No, that's not. No. I wanted that button. All right, there we go. SharpSite, web. Did it pick up both of those? Picked up the rename. Fantastic. Renamed application. Renamed application state. Now let's see what you got for me, Copilot. Can I request a re-review? Is that a thing? Or will it re-review? Oh, right there. All right, here we go. Nice theme. Thank you. It's the cyberpunk theme. Brady Gaster saw it last stream. He's like, I need that. Oh, Chris Funk, I get that all the time. It is hard to spot the missing eye. It is a long word, yeah. How am I seeing it through the glasses? I'm seeing it just fine. It didn't. It's still reviewing. Oh, there we go. 2 comments. Logging sensitive credentials, including the password to the console, could expose sensitive information. True. And that's not what we're going to do. Wow. So that's on page 3. Yes, go ahead. It's step 3. If I close, it just hides. Yes, I know. You're out there. Do your thing. Wow, it appeared here from the review. Yeah, go ahead, do that. I clicked apply. What's it doing? Now, besides the user's PRs, we gotta deal with the Copilot PRs. That's okay. That doesn't do anything. Okay. Edit comment? No. No. It's already there. Go away. Yes. Mud on. And yeah. Right, this is going to be the logic to save this stuff. So yes, you go away. I know. I'm working on it here. That's why it's only in draft. Copilot is scary good most of the times. When you keep the changes, it should do small enough it really pushes your productivity. Good. I'm glad you feel that way. So what I want to do here is that right? I forget if database... No, database config isn't a thing. That's not it. Give me application state. I have content connection string and security connection string. So, go ahead. In commits, it can be a little bit chatty. That's okay. That's all right. That's not a thing either. Like, here, this is where I have challenges with Copilot. None of this stuff is what I really wanted to do. Format a connection string for the database using Postgres syntax and using a database. Yeah. Sure, 5432 is the default there. That's a pretty good connection string. And I'm going to say app state. See, I can't say database connection string because that's not a thing. It's content connection string. There we go. Format a... There we go. Yes. That's good too. Give me one more. That's what I'm talking about. Right? And this is that mindset that we as .NET developers...
W1
oh my gosh, Wise Otter with the tier 1. Thank you so much. The reason, right, this is what the tab completion is something that we as Microsoft developers, Visual Studio developers, have had for a very, very, very long time, 25 years. The rest of the world is finally getting it. Actually, more like 30 years, because it was in Visual C++, Fox Pro, Visual Basic before that. Thank you so much, Wise Otter. Really appreciate the support. Thank you so much bringing that Prime subscription to a tier 1. Pooling over factory? Yeah, we always want to turn on pooling. The factory will manage the collection of database connections. So, yeah. Now we need to save the state. No. Startup step equals 0. Startup completed true. Save state, yes. I forget the name of the command to save. It's just save because I'm lame like that. And we should await that. Which means, come on, you're going to tell me, go ahead, fix it using Copilot. There are too many tabs for me to accept that. I don't want to move my mouse. All right. Save that, and let's navigate. I don't need to initialize. It's already there. I do have Navigation Manager. Fantastic. So I should be able to... No! Stop it! I don't want that. I want to go... Tab completion in C++ is awesome, even on Unreal development. Yeah. And when you say Unreal development, you mean Unreal Engine development. You don't mean that, dude, my development in C++ is so awesome, it's unreal. It is Unreal, but it's Unreal with Unreal. Yeah, like that. I think that's all I want here. And then I feel like at that point I should reach into the repository objects and do ensure database so that it does the migrations. Right? This 35 up here is bothering me. It's like really bothering me. Because it wants to include these things that are down in locale's translator. Give me a second here while I swat this. Where's my .git? You're not going to show me the .git folder? .git ignore, that's what I'm looking for. I called it just translator, didn't I? Well, heck. I don't have to modify that then. I can just go... And there are translations we need to get back into here. Call that sharp translator in. Done. Underscore plugins we should ignore also. Yeah. Come here, you. Cool. Excluding the underscore plugins folder. Okay. And we're working on step 3 here. Good. That looks much better. All right, so I want to be able to do the ensure database is all set and running with the things properly. So here in SharpSite data Postgres, I've got these repositories. I've got register Postgres services. I feel like I want to add another interface. I manage database and be able to say ensure database, right? Scaffold database, update database. That's not bad. That's I kind of like that. Public interface. I manage database. Great database if not exist. Great database schema if not exist. I don't need the async one. Update database schema async. Sure. Can you give me some stuff? There we go. That's good. I like that. So then over here, I manage database. Go ahead, implement it. Yeah. You restarted. How do I get the connection to the database? What are my thoughts on composition over inheritance? I'm a big fan of composition over inheritance. Yes. Use more interfaces for more things. Inheritance breaks down over time, and you end up creating an interface. So, but I definitely see inheritance breaking down over time. Confusing? When you're designing it, it can be. I need to somehow inject into these the context. Oh my gosh, Bograt with the sub.
Thebograt just resubscribed for 6 months.
6 months in advance! Wow! Thank you very much. That is very kind. Thank you so much for that support, Bograt. Yeah, thank you so much for being a part of our community here. Love the content. Keep it up. I will. You always prefer interfaces. Interfaces, it's easy to add multiple interfaces to classes. Your current company doesn't really use interfaces. So in applications where you need things to run smaller, faster, the tight coupling will yield some performance. Will yield some performance gains. The interfaces give you the flexibility to maintain and grow things out later. So much easier to unit test? Absolutely. Interfaces are very easy to unit test. I think I want to pull this out of here. And I think this is going to need to change. Because if we save the database context, connection string inside application state, we don't want to necessarily do it this way. We want to read the connection string from over there. I know. Interfaces are easier maintenance and future scaling. Yes, the inheritance gives you that dramatic code reuse. Dramatic code reuse. Like, just because we're talking about this a little bit. Where is it? Step 3. Like, the configuration of this, and here's what step I'm on, I really could reuse and do a little bit of layout reuse here and some of this configuration inside of a base component, right? And have these other steps actually inherit from it so that this setup is consistent in protecting and guarding how you access and interact with things. And then these, these features up here that I'm injecting can be in one place in the base component and just made available to all of the pages that are part of the startup process. I could do that. Will it help me in future development of the startup process? Maybe. Maybe. Let's come back to that. Let's come back to that. Maybe we can do something with that. Yeah. Let's come back to that in just a little bit. I was over here. Can I do a NeoVim month? I normally do that in March, in what I call minimal March, and I didn't do it because I was, we got focused on a handful of different things here between Charlie and SharpSite, and I completely forgot about doing my minimal month where I would be all on Linux and using Vim. And I completely forgot about it. But we can definitely talk about that. I want to be a little bit more productive and work with Copilot here a bit and see how that grows. I know you can do Copilot with Vim. I don't have that set up yet, and it's not something that I want to go through and try and do live on stream. I want to do some prep work on that. You dig the VS Code theme? That is the cyberpunk theme. I've had a couple folks ask about that. So, right here, created by Max. Give me a link to this, John. Minimal May it is. I try and do May is for Max, and quite frankly, May is going to be St. Jude fundraising month. There's going to be all kinds of things that we're going to be doing in... I'm behind on some of the channel point redemptions. There's going to be all kinds of crazy things we're going to do in May in an effort to encourage folks to make donations to St. Jude. It's a charity that I've been happy to support the last 3-4 years, and we've done some fun things around that. It's great to be able to support an organization that's going to, as a parent, an organization that's going to help kids stay healthy. Like, that's a very cool thing. So there's the link to the theme in chat. So we'll figure out and do some crazy things. Maybe we do a stream or two that are all in Vim during May. Maybe we do. We're going to be doing some longer, crazier streams in May. We'll be dressed up as Clippy. We'll do the Hot Wings challenge again. We'll do a whole bunch of stuff. St. Jude Play Live is 2 weeks actually. So I leave in 2 weeks. 2 weeks? Not this weekend. Next Tuesday the 15th, I leave for Memphis. So, and I'll try and do a stream from there. I'll try to do at least one from there. And maybe if I'm lucky, I can get Dr. Lupo to stop by. Maybe. We'll see. So, you're hoping to get an invite next year? They have a fantastic facility there. They're really trying to do a lot to help folks. Okay, Copilot's sending me emails with the pull request reviews. Wasn't expecting that. Thank you. Can I share something that I saw? Yeah, let me share this. And then we'll dive back into the code here. You're very behind with fundraising tools this year? That's okay. This happened. This happened yesterday. And let me tell you, the team went bananas when they saw this. Like, I have my Aspirify.net stuff that goes out there and spelunks the web and looks for content, things that folks are saying about .NET Aspire. And this happened. This is the ThoughtWorks Technology Radar Report. It has recommendations for, right, this is the 30-second one for April 2025, and it's thoughts and recommendations about different tools that you should use. So things are marked as hold, assess, trial, and adopt. And assess, it's worth exploring with the goal of understanding how it will affect your enterprise. Worth pursuing on is what they're saying on trial. It's important to understand and build up a capability. And adopt says we feel strongly that everybody should do this. And you can see the folks on the board, production credits, so on and so forth. But in the assess is in languages and frameworks, number 91, .NET Aspire. It is right there. And it's actually closer to trial than it is on the outside. They're designed to simplify the orchestration of distributed applications on a developer's local machine. Lets you orchestrate multiple services in your local development environment, including multiple .NET projects, dependent databases, and Docker containers, all with a single command. Further, it provides observability tools, including logging, tracings, and metrics, dashboards for local development, decoupled from the tools used in staging and production environment. This significantly improves the developer experience when building, tweaking, and debugging observability aspects of any system they are working on. We're going to work on this. We're going to work on this. But I can share with you that the team is very, very happy that .NET Aspire has made it onto the technology radar. And it's giving the engineers, it's giving the program managers something to push and do more with. So we're pretty excited about that achievement. I think that's a good word for it. That recognition. Yeah, Aspire works since I talk with people about it. The .NET will in Germany places. Not even your concern. Nice. David Fowler's released a few nice posts on Medium about Aspire and its future. He has. And we've picked it up and we've been broadcasting those on Aspirify. So his articles, he doesn't have any images, anything about it, but he has been talking about it on Medium and really giving some of that thought leadership positioning of what It is. If you want to know a little bit more about where we're thinking about it, take a look at his blog posts out there on Medium. You can find all of his content. No, that one. All of his content about Aspire right there on Aspirify, and click through and check it out. So, that shouldn't be news, but whatever, that's fine. Shows value in the work and to keep going with it. Totally. It's encouraging. So, next month it is. So, yep, I think we talked about that. Cool. Moving on. Back over here. How are we on time? Yeah, we're fine. So, this is adding the Postgres context, but it doesn't have a database name. So I think I need to inject application state. Where is this referenced? Yeah, it's newed up directly. It's created right there. And it's before application state is passed in. So maybe we need to pass application state into these two methods. I'm not opposed to adding that. Applications and application state model. Right, because that's a thing. No. It's over in abstractions. Oh, this is down one level. Ah, crumbs. Hey, the Brady Gaster is here. How you doing there, friend? You know what? I could just go even simpler and say string connection string. I could just do that. Here's the challenge, Brady. Here's what we're thinking. For this website, when you first set it up, it doesn't have a database connection string. When you're developing with .NET Aspire, it does. But when you go to install it in a production space, it doesn't have a connection string. We're going to generate and save that connection string somewhere. Now, the way to place it, good, tired, I feel the same way. This has been an exhausting week for some reason. The real way that we want to store that connection string is going to be, and configure when we get out into a production space that's out on the web somewhere or in the cloud, is going to be in a key vault or something like that, and pull it from key vault and pass that along. For right now, just saving it into a JSON file on disk. That's fine. It's in a hidden folder that's not available directly. But when we level up, we'll get to that. But I think that's as simple as I want to go here. Once you key in and say, here's my connection string information, I need to restart. I want to restart. AppHost doesn't exist when we're running live. We need to restart because we need to have this get the application state and load with that information when we're running in a production space. You do encrypt your data with data protection API of ASP.NET Core and have the data protection key secured with Key Vault. There you go. There you go. And I can certainly do that when we go to save the connection string, right? Data protection keys are out there, right? And I can wire that into application state. Not you. Here. Right. I can put on this in the get and set. I could use database, the ASP.NET data protection APIs to encrypt right there. Why disable retry? It's an option. Where'd it go? When you have the retry enabled, when you're doing schema operations, it will break. You don't want it to retry. You want it to fail when it goes to select or integrate and try to create a database table or alter a database table. There's error handling code in there that says if this errors out in the migration code, if this errors, move on and do this other thing. So when you're scaffolding with EF context, with entity framework context, you want it to properly fail. When we're running live, we do want to enable the retries and take advantage of the resiliency capabilities that are out there. You'd also think about Azure App Config Provider periodically reloads config values. That's a thing also. We're not trying to be perfect now. We're trying to build to get pieces working, and then we can scale up and as we get features working, scale up, replace, make things more secure, make things more resilient as we're going, right? This is a process. If we were to make everything 100% zero tech debt from the get-go, we'd still be working on, hey, let's create a blog post. Because we'd be still nailing down all the things. So, Xerxes, you're busy scrambling to strip Mediator and Mass Transit out of your projects? Why? I would do that if you didn't think they were valuable tools and you didn't think you could contribute to their projects. But we had a bit of a discussion about their decisions, and what Xerxes is referring to is the discussion around .NET open source projects becoming commercial. It's my belief that that's the dream for some of these folks. That they built something simple and folks ramped up and built many, many, many production features, so much so that other folks have built entire businesses off of their goodwill, their altruistic approach at delivering their open source projects. And those folks now come to them for support. Some of them have already started their own little consulting companies, and it's one and a couple of their friends. So, like, that's the dream. And why shouldn't they say, you know what? If you're using this for production reasons and you've got thousands, tens of thousands of people using software you built on top of my library, I'd like to get paid too. That's not wrong. You're removing Mediator too? You're poor, that's why? Okay. Okay. They're not going to force you to pay for older versions, but they're looking for a paid license for newer versions. That's all. it's Mediator, AutoMapper, and Mass Transit are in 2025 are shifting to a commercial licensed model. And that's fair. So you can use the older versions that are open source. According to, as of right now, at the time of this recording here in April 2025, you can use the open source versions of those libraries still for free. Okay. The advanced features they're adding in future versions, they ask that you buy a commercial license. So, as folks grow their business, they want to get paid. And they're going to lose a certain number of folks because they can't afford to buy a license. Okay. But if you've built a commercial business on top of those facilities, it's only fair. And that's not clear, Mythin, if the newer versions will be available for nonprofit. Not clear yet. Some folks evaluate that on a case-by-case basis and decide. It's a thing. And you absolutely, Napalm's right. You're going to see a lot more of this, particularly from the American-based creators, as the federal government policies start to make things a lot more expensive. You're going to see a lot of that coming from American-based creators. I firmly believe that. As long as you don't want the biggest new features and stuff, use the old ones. Yeah. That's just it. Mass transit, the alternative, and service bus, Azure Service Bus. There's other service buses out there that are available. So, AutoMapper, I've never been a fan of AutoMapper. I believe I can just use Copilot to generate my my conversion code and just generate and save that. However, the what Mediator does, there are other in-memory tools that will make that work. Wolverine is one, but he has a paid license for some of his tools as well. So no, it's not hard to write your own conversion scripts. Mapperly, there you go. That's another one. Yeah, but you can generate that code with Copilot. Like, just ask it, generate the mapping code for this, and write it in as an explicit conversion into your view model classes, and done. Pretty easy to do. I do that a bit in SharpSite. So, do I feel like Copilot is taking longer to work than it used to? No. It's just waiting for Microsoft to start commercializing the .NET framework and its ecosystem. .NET framework has always been very commercial. It always has been. The fact that you couldn't build anything with it until, and Nick clipped a bit from my conversation with him about this. There was a very big gateway to using .NET up until 2010. You were required to buy Visual Studio. If you didn't have Visual Studio, you couldn't compile and use .NET. So, that's absolutely that was a thing, and it was very commercial. We recognized as a business that, yeah, let's make it open source. Let's make it free for anybody to use and extend and bolt onto. And the number of developers who use .NET in the 10, 15 years since has more than doubled. So, do I use MVC more often? No. I prefer Blazor. You don't like Automapper because if you rename refactor on one end, it might break in runtime. Right. Yep. .NET was way worth it then too. Yeah. Yeah. So, I need to figure out what we're going to do here with this thing. Replace these two. Let it regenerate. There we go. So I could create the database context and go and call ensure database. Free open source software was never sustainable. No, not at all. Not at all. There it is running. Right, and then migrations here. It finishes, shuts down, and just kind of hangs out there. That should be wait for complete then, not wait for. Let's go back to app host. Let's fix that real quick, because that's wrong. Add Postgres, wait for completion on the migration service. Oh, because I ran .NET Watch. It wants to restart. Nah, all right, fine. But yeah, free open source software is never sustainable, right? Like, we see that a lot. Especially stuff that's down low level in like TCP/IP networking. Something in there breaks. And the internet suddenly all goes to hell. You wanted to cover MVC? You wanted to cover MVC. Just the base, but I'm not sure how deep I should go in focusing on it. MVC for controllers to build APIs is very, very good and something we very much encourage. Using it with views is not, for me, it's not used as much. I'd prefer to use Blazor. However, that's not as fast as MVC. Look what happened with Elastic, Redis, and others. Yeah. Yep. Elastic, very successful business. Redis, Amazon and Google are doing Redis dirty. And I don't think that's fair at all and is detrimental to the community of cloud services that they're trying to build and recommend. The Valkey project, they're entitled to build and work with, but you are trillion-dollar companies. You are trillion-dollar companies, and the folks who make the cache service that you're making how many billions of dollars off of in your cloud service, they'd like to get paid a little bit for that. Like, come on, negotiate a contract. Like, shut up. That's just arrogant and being, quite frankly, being a bunch of. I'm gonna stay clean. Amazon and Google are being jerks by not supporting the Redis folks and saying we're gonna fork and build our own version. Like, come on, you are trillion-dollar companies. Throw them a couple bones. That's sorry. While that you're entitled to do business the way you want to do business, that is not encouraging the technical community that you've been built on top of. So, Mythin asks, in terms of plugins for SharpSite, it would probably be better to build and maintain its own DB context. Yes, this is inside of the Postgres library. So inside of here, it's going to maintain its own database context. When we pull the database out as a plugin, this will be this level of isolation that I'm working with here will very much be what we're going to work with, what we're going to want to work with here. So yes, The issue people have is you change something that used to be free and now costs money. Yeah. Yeah. Aztec, hello?
Just resubscribed for 55 months, throwing a bone. Happy to
Thank
continue
you.
the support.
Thank you
Keep
so
up
much.
the great work.
Really appreciate the support. We had a 10 subscription drop, gift subscription drop earlier from an anonymous gifter. Thank you so much for those. And always appreciate all the subscriptions here in chat. Helps us maintain and drive some of these projects forward. Chris Funk makes a very good point here. And let me go back over to chat. There's some good discussion here. Open source software is free. It's free. It's not free as in beer, where hey, just drink all you want and be happy and merry. It's not free as in beer. It's free as in a puppy. You get that puppy for free, but you know what? Now you got to teach it. Now you got to take it to the vet. Now you got to feed it. You got to clean up after it. It's free as in a puppy, not free as in beer. So we've got free as in liberty, free as in beer, free as in a puppy. I'm okay with that. I like that analogy, Chris Funk. What theme is this? This is the cyberpunk theme. I shared a link to it just a little bit earlier. There it is. There's the theme in chat. No, they're not being greedy. These are folks who are working on projects that were a hobby or a side gig while they were working at their consulting firm, and they'd like to get paid. And I do think you're going to see more of this because of the cost of living and inflation increasing here in the States. You're going to see many more folks in the States do that. Folks that are American-based open source creators. The argument is that the Redis folks are not the real Redis folks, just the folks who bought out the real folks. I don't think Redis Labs, I don't think they bought them out. Some of those folks are there. Some of the original Redis folks left and are working at Microsoft and Amazon and Google because they needed to get paid. Like it or not, every software developer has to get paid at some level. So you got to work where you're going to be able to put food on the table. Beer can be free. Don't trust free puppies. Don't trust free horses. That's something. Not even thinking about the Trojan folks and the Trojan horse story from a long time ago. But somebody offers you a free horse, don't take it. Do not take a free horse. There's a reason why. Don't. Have a good one, Commander No Pelios. Yeah, AWS and Google are greedy. Yes, yes. Hey, Urban Blaster. Hello. Let me head back over to the code here. Let's build this little bit to do the create database if not exists and the other things here. So, create an instance of the if it does not exist, using the entity framework context. Yeah, there we go. With the connection string, yeah. No, with the connection string passed in. With the connection string passed in. Yeah. Stop talking to me and start building it. No. Context equals, there we go. New PG context. Options. No, say you didn't do it right. That's not right either. Ooh, no. What is the argument on that? It is Yeah. So we're going to need to do something like this and one of these. What a pain. Because that's not hanging off of anything. Let's back up and see if we can equals new database context options builder. Okay. I don't think I need a new on that. No. How do I want to do this? Wait a sec. Go back over to my migrations project. Here. Ow. It calls into my same method, which is add the context. And away you go. Right. If I do that, there's not an options builder. Stop suggesting that. Database context options. What do I have in here? Not context. Stop it. Stop it. All of this syntax. I don't want to see. See, but if I say options is a new one of those, I can't use that. Stop. Anybody have... Nah. Build EF context with constructor. Because I completely forget how to do this. Yeah. No! No. Really? Is that what I have to do here? Okay, use that. And this is my PG context. And this is options. Sure, we'll call this options builder. And we should be able to say use npg SQL. Yeah. PG context. And right, give me what? All right. Cool. So I can do that. That works. And then I can do the same thing down here. And I can say ensure No, I can do migrate async. Now, just do migrate. Okay. I think we got that. Let me catch up on chat. You have a product that your org used that was advertised and sold as open source, and then they switched to a freemium model to where you paid for earlier updated releases. That's not bad. Pristino asks, if I want to develop enterprise-grade project and task management web application, what's my recommendation? .NET or React will be better with TypeScript. React will be better with TypeScript, but use .NET for the back-end services. .NET to dynamic language developers feels heavy because it has static typing. It's actually faster and has multi-threaded capabilities. Yeah, there's a good sample. And doing it with Aspire means you can separate the two and see how they both manage and interact with things. It's a pretty good sample. Okay, so I have these. I'm going to want to... I need to restart the application, though, so that it re-registers the database with the new connection strings. There's a trick to restarting that. Yeah, we're going to need to rebuild that. Okay. You know what? I don't need this one. And I don't need that. But this. Oh, I didn't put the connection string on that. Anyway. I don't want it to default. I'm going to make that required. Back over here. Get rid of that. Yes. See, why did it? Okay. So now, yes, I know you restarted. I'm not thrilled with doing this, but for the purposes of getting this working, I will take the technical debt of hard coding it here. Actually, wait a sec. No, not that one. If I've registered it in here, like I've already hard coded it there. Do I register itself? I don't. Let's register it. So now I can request one of these. No, wait a sec. I want to request one of those. Yeah. Because then, thank you for the follow. Peach Cat, welcome. I manage database. Sure, database manager, that's fine. Because then down here, I can say, wait. No. That's not a thing. And you know it. You know it. Connection string. Like, you know that's a thing. And actually, that's not awaitable. You're just going to wait for it. And now you're just repeating yourself. And that I do want to await. So, hello, Peach Cat. How you doing? Do I use GHCP, GitHub something? GitHub Copilot agents sometimes? No, not yet. After 4 hours of fighting, Otel Collector is sending its config to Datadog. Nice. Nice. With the telemetry not in configuration either. So this, yeah, that'll work. That'll totally work. Good. Now let me park that code. Come on now, you've got a hotkey for this, Fritz. There we go. Yeah, commit all that. First pass at performing database migration. Cool. You use Arch? That's cool. I am a Kubuntu fan. When I'm on my Linux machine, I'm using Kubuntu Linux. This theme is cyberpunk. I've gotten 3 or 4 questions on that. There you go. There's a link to the theme. I love the nice cool colors here. Makes it real easy on the eyes. So, I need to create the security database if it doesn't exist, which means I need a security database manager. Restart the application to apply the changes. And then navigate to. Once I start restarting the application, that navigate isn't going to work. But actually, if we've saved that the startup is completed, this page will become disconnected, and it should route at that point. I think so. What kind of app? We're working on a CMS, and we're working on the installation steps here. Yeah, I suspect that when it reconnects, Initialize will kick in and it'll reroute. I suspect. We'll figure that out. And we have a trick to get this working that we did in Tags app. We'll just bring over here. So, yeah, there's the link. You can also take a look at the chat message up at the top of chat that's pinned to see what we're working on. I need a hotkey for the theme question. I need a way to load it into Charlie so that I can Charlie can recognize common questions that were already answered and deliver the answer. So there's our map from folks saying, hey, I'm watching in, and so on and so forth, and it plots that location. You're welcome, Peach Cat. So I think I want to pause here for right now. I have a couple other projects that I need to work on today, and I think I'm at a good place to pause. You're from Atlantis? It's not going to plot that. It's got a little bit of an AI in there, so it will detect if a place is real or not. And holy crow, it plotted Atlantis. Of course, it plotted it in San Francisco. Of course it did. Of course it did. So, yeah. In the Bahamas, man, that would make too much sense. I'm going to wrap up here for right now. We'll see if I can stream a little bit tomorrow morning. But I do have some other projects I need to get to, so I am going to wrap up here. The code that we were just working on for SharpSite is saved. It's in GitHub if you want to take a look at it. All right. We had some great conversation today about what's happening with the .NET community and why folks are going through and commercializing some of their open source projects. Really great stuff that's going on there. One Lion is live. I was actually looking at raiding our friend Code Rushed. I wanted to go raid our friend Code Rushed. It's been a while since I've seen him. So, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll try to be back tomorrow morning. If not, I will definitely be back on Monday morning. And we'll have some more fun coding then. I'll be hanging out in Discord all weekend. There's between Charlie and SharpSite and Tags app, and there's one or two other projects I'm working on. I'm going to be writing a lot of code throughout the weekend, all right? Have a fantastic rest of your day wherever you might be. I wish you good health and good coding. Take care. I missed grabbing my hat. What the hell were you doing? You missed grabbing your hat there, Fritz. It looked like a moron there. You don't know how to grab your hat? What, are you kidding me? Go, get him over to Code Rush.